Do you realize that you are moving different in the best possible way in this circumstance with this person than you have in previous connections with this Nine of Pentacles? This person has likely pulled their energy back or has given you mixed signals, things are confusing, and instead of taking that as an invitation to chase them, you have snatched your power back. You have regrouped. You have redirected the focus within and you have kept pushing forward. And this is something which has sent a very loud and clear signal to this person that you are different than other energies they've been dealing with. Pick me energies, trifling energies, energies of people that perpetuated a level of chaos and wounding inside of this person that, despite their best intentions to enter into romantic relationships and have good experiences, inevitably had surfaced time and again in the forms of fears of commitment, fears of intimacy. This could definitely be an emotionally avoidant person that you are dealing with. And nobody has ever put a boundary in place with them in the ways that you have. Not by lashing out, not by, kind of again, like taking their stillness, their uncertainty, their silence as an invitation to chase, but you have pulled back in a way that has served as a very stark reminder to this individual, or kind of like a harsh level of awareness that was very necessary, that you are somebody that knows your worth and value. You're not going to tolerate woundedness in your life. And so although you've magnetized each other into one another's life and reality, that in order to have something more with someone like you, it's going to require this person taking a huge leap and adjusting their attitude and their behavior beyond that place of woundedness, beyond kind of like breadcrumbing or, extending themselves towards you only to sort of pull back or to get scared or to stumble. And so this is something that has served as like a huge wake up call for this person in a way that might have been very triggering to their ego at first. But now the dust has settled a little bit. They are feeling kind of the coldness of your absence, or another aspect of your energy that has replaced almost like a warmth or a friendliness. You were very easy to access, you were very easygoing, and based on how they've handled the situation so far, they are seeing that other face of you. They are coming to understand this level of self-reliance that you have within yourself, which is helping them to really understand, if I put in the work, if I take this leap of faith forward, if I can kind of overcome my own woundedness that has served as kind of a self-sabotage mechanism in connections in the past, somebody that has magnetized in opportunities with other people, but they fumbled the situation because it got a little too close for comfort. They see you as somebody that has responded differently to that kind of inclination or that impulse within them in such a way that this is like a teachable moment at this particular point in time. They feel you slipping further and further away, and this is somebody that's like, I don't want to miss out on this opportunity with this person. You've held a mirror up to this individual in a way that, again, nobody has done before, and so this is something that it feels like they are wrestling with the reality within themselves that they need to get it together, or they're just going to be a footnote in your story. And this is something which it feels like was very challenging for them at first, but they are developing like a deep level of respect for you as a person and for what they sense is an opportunity to kind of step up in terms of how they have approached this connection so far, and to leave behind a lot of the wounding that has also kind of operated as an obstacle in past situations for them too. Yeah, we also have justice. So you have kind of like given this person a taste of their own medicine. They came towards you maybe with warmth, maybe with curiosity. They could have been the one to make the first move and things were going well, and then all of a sudden they switched up on you, rather than you kind of again like chasing their shadow, chasing their coattails, like wait, no, what do I have to do? How can I kind of like get back in your energy, get back in your presence? How can I make you see that I'm worthy of being chosen? You instead are at a point in your life and in your journey where it's like, okay, you want to run off in the other direction? Fine. I love myself enough to stop in my tracks and redirect elsewhere as well. That has thrown this person for a loop. This is something that they didn't expect out of you. They almost might have taken your kindness for weakness, or they saw you as being like a very friendly person, and therefore, somebody that would have tolerated just kind of whatever from them. They might have even been sort of like testing your loyalty, testing the connection, testing to see what they could get away with in this circumstance kind of early on, and you beat them at their own game. You are at a point in your life where you're like, maybe an old version of me would have played along. An old version of me would have, not known my worth enough, and I would have just crawled after someone that was giving me no indicators that they were willing to meet me on equal ground, on equal footing. But this version of me knows their worth, and I will go where I'm being celebrated, no matter how deep the chemistry is, no matter how much we have in common, no matter how much, romance or lovey-dovey experiences that we've had. If it's not something that, brings peace into my life, if this is something that makes me question my worth or makes me feel like I have to perform in order to earn love or accommodate somebody else's wounds, then I'm not interested. And instead of that being something where, like, you gave this person a whole spiel, you went off, you wasted words on them, on somebody that it feels like was kind of shut down emotionally or kind of like put up a wall and wouldn't have heard you anyway. It's like you saved all of that kind of like wasted energy or wasted effort, and you might have just kind of like responded with silence. You've pulled your own energy back. You've switched gears. You're headed off in another direction. And this is something that this person now feels like, if I don't get it together, I'm going to be left behind. And that is not what I wanted to happen in this situation. Yeah, we got the 8 of Cups. So this is something that kind of indicates where you are at in your life, in your journey, in all the kind of like losses and victories and romance prior to the encounter with this person that have necessitated that you like heal your own wounds, you learn certain lessons. You have raised your vibration so much that you are now a repellent to takers, to energy vampires, to people that bring low vibrational energies towards you. There may be something where it's like a different caliber of people that approach, even like this person that it feels like obviously has some wounds within, because you're, if you're resonating with this reading, you're in this situation where there's probably distance, there's probably silence between the two of you. This person has a lot more workable potential than past people you were dealing with, who were so in denial, so deeply rooted within their woundedness, or just not in a place in their own kind of like soul journey or in their life where it was time for them to kind of work on those lessons. Maybe even in this lifetime they weren't supposed to level up. They were just karmic individuals, karmic lessons for you, for other people, and that's just kind of the name of the game in those situations. This person, however, it feels like, yes, they are somewhat of a work in progress, but this is somebody that has a lot more ability, a lot more stamina, a lot more of a capability of kind of wrestling their pride and their ego into a place of submission, because they recognize that sort of like, if this had something to do with almost consciously trying to like test you, test your loyalty, test your boundaries, and it feels like a lot of it was also sort of like wounding, again, you've kind of operated as a repellent to that wounding within. You triggered something within this person through your authenticity, through your light, through how you are showing up in this connection in a very genuine manner, that it feels like is a very necessary threshold that needs to be crossed in order to have something deep and more meaningful between the two of you. But unlike previous people where it's kind of just like, okay, this is where we part ways. Thanks for nothing. Thanks for the lessons. Thanks for the experience. Thanks for the good times that we shared. Or maybe like a little more of a colorful sentiment that you might want to tell someone other than thank you. This is somebody, on the other hand, that has the ability and currently is kind of like introspecting, like, oh no, okay, what went wrong? Didn't mean for that to happen. Don't want to just end up as like a footnote in this person's story, because they know you're going to keep moving forward. You're going to keep moving ahead. You're going to keep your heart open. You're going to keep your light bright so that you can attract in the right type of partner. The type of partner that, even if there's wounding, they're going to do everything that they can to overcome that in order to remain relevant in your story, in order to earn a place in your life. And this person that you are resonating with, this reading is resonating with you, this is one of those kinds of people. Yeah, there's potential here. You've clocked that. You've tapped into that with one another. But unlike previous situations where you might have wasted time, years of your life in like one-sided experiences, looking towards somebody's potential, ignoring the fact that the reality of that person indicated little to no progress in that direction. This is someone it feels like that is going to surprise you with all of kind of the positive sort of like internal transformation that it feels like this sort of wake up call that you have provided to them is encouraging them to kind of undergo within themselves, because this is somebody it feels like that really wants to make the effort to try to fix things with you, and not just in a way where they're like, telling you some sort of sob story and, trying to like just pull you back into like a toxic cycle. It feels like this is someone that wants to come towards you with like a softened approach, or something that really indicates like they get it. They see where they have stumbled in this situation. They may come forth like saying all the right things, a lot of apologies, accompanying that with like a different approach, different sorts of actions towards you. Any kind of like fear that they may feel, or again like an avoidant tendency within, there's a sense of this person knows they need to get it together really quickly, because you're not stopping, you're not waiting, you're not holding space, or maybe even kind of like empowering very much hope inside of yourself of them changing, because you've done that before with previous people and it's proved to be a waste of time. It's proved to just be like an energy drain for you. It was feeding an energy vampire in and of itself, kind of like all the people in the past that you're like, well, it's not perfect, but I see a lot of potential here, or wounding inside of yourself where you felt you needed to like chase love or earn love or put your own needs secondary to someone else. You've outgrown that version of you. You've left that version of you in the dust long ago. You are somebody entirely different, with a different relationship with yourself, different standards. You bring something different to the table, and you expect people who want to enter your life to bring something different to the table as well. And this person has gotten that message loud and clear through your ability to regroup, redirect, and not feed into this kind of like chain of events where they keep taking steps forward and you're just following in their coattails. You're allowing this back and forth behavior, little bits of like, okay, I'm going to come back in just for a minute and then I'm going to get freaked out and kind of run off again. You're not doing that with this person. And so this is somebody that it feels like that has been very shocking for them, in terms of like, I need to really, kind of move beyond this woundedness within. If they had come in with the mindset of, let me test this person's loyalty because I'm afraid to kind of open up, emotionally speaking, it feels like that is a plan which backfired. That is something which they see, okay, you're somebody that you're holding it down very genuinely in your own life. You're bringing a lot of genuine energy to the table. Yes, there is always a necessary period of time of like establishing trust or getting to know people very gradually, but you're not somebody that's going to tolerate people playing mind games, or people like playing with your heartstrings, kind of like plucking at your heartstrings just to see what sound it makes, just to see what kind of reaction they can get out of you. And so this is something that it feels like has caused this person to recognize, like, I need to drop that toxicity if I am to, again, like have sort of a place in this person's life moving forward. We also have the King of Swords. So there's like a ruthlessness about the way in which you cut this situation off. You have made it so clear through your willingness not to participate, not to, again, like chase this person, send a bunch of texts. If you've had communication back and forth, you've kept it short and sweet and to the point. You're not wasting your words. You're not like pouring this emotional energy into them, because they've already given you these indicators that like emotions scare them. The word emotions itself might have been something that was like a key word that kind of like caused them to shut off. Oh my gosh, someone's talking about feelings. Let me just kind of become like a stonewalled version of myself. You've taken that to heart, and it's not something that you are willing to kind of subject yourself to. Whatever this person has kind of done up to this point in time that has made you have to regroup and rethink, this is something where it is very clear to them that they have the ability to kind of turn the situation around, but it requires them to bring more of an evolved approach in the past. If they're uncomfortable about the idea of feelings, or opening up about feelings, they need to be clear about that. They need to say that. They need to let you know, like, it's moving too fast. We need to slow down. This is my blind spot. I'm not really comfortable with these things. It's not really easy for me to talk about my emotions. They need to give you something in order to kind of earn a seat at your table once more. And this person is aware of that. They find this fact that there's like a challenge now in the situation. Like, you've challenged this person through demonstrating self-love and self-respect, and it's something which it feels like has opened their eyes to the ability to kind of rise to the occasion in more of a truly empowered version of themselves. And there's a sense of almost like, if I can accomplish this, if I can get into a place inside of myself where I'm able to like hold conversation, hold space with this person, show up in an energy of high integrity, then that is something that could be the opening of the door into a very powerful type of love connection that, for all the times in the past where this person had kind of like chosen people that would just sort of perpetuate their chaos, or maybe brought a lot of chaos to the table themselves, and they had told themselves like, I don't like this doesn't feel good, I don't want to keep experiencing that in my life, you are a breath of fresh air, you bring something very different to the table. And this person sees and acknowledges and recognizes that. There's actually something that's very attractive about this like tough love that you have shown them, because again, this is something where nobody's ever told this person no in this way. Nobody has ever kind of responded to something that might even just been like subtle. They might have just even been sort of like toying with the situation, and at the first indicator of something like feeling off, you put up a wall, you put up a boundary, you shifted your position. And there's a sense like, wow, that was quick. I wasn't able to really manipulate this. You're somebody that clearly has like a low tolerance, a low threshold for nonsense. And so this is helping them to, see you in more of a clear light, that whatever it is that you kind of bring to the table that attracted them to you in the first place, in order to sort of capitalize on that, savor that, experience the sweetness and kind of the development of that in a long-term sense, they also have to leave the masks behind. They have to leave the inclination to play games behind. They have to be willing to walk with you beyond their woundedness, one step at a time, consistently moving forward towards the future. Yeah, we also have the Two of Wands. This is definitely somebody that is re-strategizing their approach. They are getting ready to reach out. They're getting ready to maybe encounter you, to come towards you. This is something where they know that the silent treatment is not working. The stillness between the two of you, it's in place permanently unless they do something about that. They understand that you are not at a point with them or in your life in general where you're going to like circle back around to people from the past that have kind of like made it clear that they aren't interested, that they aren't able to, kind of match your vibration, that they aren't able to kind of work through any sort of difficulties, any kind of fears, any kind of uncertainty, any kind of obstacles, that they're not willing to work with you in order to compromise, in order to, make certain sacrifices, in order to kind of build in the directions that you can, and kind of utilize all resources and assets internally and externally to kind of create a bridge between yourself and them, so that there can be some way to kind of access greater potential, romantically speaking. This person that you're dealing with now, maybe you're still communicating with them, or there's been some kind of like period of pause or silence between the two of you. It doesn't feel like anyone from like the remote or distant past, because this is something where you're in a season of your life of kind of like, I gave all those past people a fair opportunity. That door is shut. That is something that I don't look behind me anymore. I'm not that same version of myself that connected with those people once upon a time, and kind of showed up as I did, or regretfully so, within those kind of connections, within those sort of situations. You're somebody that you bring a lot of certainty, you bring a lot of like forward facing energy to the table. And so this person that you're dealing with now, or you've been dealing with most recently, they kind of like want to give this another chance. They want to see if there's an ability to kind of create some healing here, create some kind of clarity here, but it requires them to depart from that stance of woundedness, or trying to control the outcome of the situation by empowering their own wounds, and therefore kind of like giving a little, but only so much. This is somebody that feels like they need to bring a lot of clarity to you. They need to bring a lot of consistency that was lacking before. They're strategizing how to do that. It feels like they're having a conversation with themselves where the part of them that is like, well, maybe it's better that it happened this way, and maybe it's too little too late. Like, that part of them is not very convincing anymore. There's this huge kind of motivation within them, like, give this another chance, see if this is salvageable, can you redeem yourself in this situation, before they just kind of give up on it altogether, because they see, they sense, they see, they observe, they notice, they are aware you're moving forward, you haven't reached out, you haven't chased. If they're watching your social media, they can see kind of like your life is still going. You're not kind of like broken down, wadded up in the corner crying. You're not kind of totally, in despair, despondent over this situation. You've had your emotions, you've had your disappointment. Now you're pushing forward. And so this person recognizes it's kind of like time is of the essence. It's sort of like now or never. And so it feels like they are gearing up to say something, to do something, to make some kind of an effort to turn the situation around. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.